Bond-style contraption that turns this ball screw and forces them out after a specified time delay. And then I put it in a lunchbox for camouflage, and then I release them in this office. Now you might think, that's not very nice, Mark.
Well, yeah, why?
I'm afraid of cockroaches. Trust me,
Ew,
I know.
ew.
And that's exactly the point, because this isn't just any office. This is ground zero for one of those terrible call centers that scams people of their life savings. A year ago when I released this video about inadvertently stumbling
Okay, you know what?
onto the
Maybe they
low-level
deserve it.
thugs in this international scam operation, I said we were gonna glitter bomb our way all the way to the top, even if it meant taking this fight to the other side of the globe. And so after a year and a half of planning, we infiltrated not one, not two, not three, but 4 different scam call centers. We released cockroaches, smoke bombs, stink bombs, glitter bombs, and then of course we hacked their CCTV so we could watch the whole thing unfold in real time.
The little rat poking its head out.
This is the wild conclusion to this multinational.
They hacked their CCTV so they could see what happens. Guys, I know there's Netflix and Hulu and this and that, but oh my God, the lengths that people are willing to go to make good YouTube content as well. Like, thank you. I applaud you. I really do.
Adventure, and please watch to the end because there's something you can actually do to help put the nail in the coffin of these 4 massive call centers. Now, why would we go after this $20 billion scam industry? Well, we're doing it for the 60 million people who've lost money to scammers in the past year. But more specifically, we're doing it for Bessie, who you might recall from my previous video when I detailed exactly how one of these scams worked.
You're like my granny, Miss Bessie. Do you know this?
Yes.
She was like one of my closest friends.
Oh.
I used to share each and everything with her.
Basically, it starts with an email or a
Oh, not the guilt tripping the senior citizens so that you can steal all their money. Do you have no soul? Do you have no soul? Listen, I know not everybody believes in religion, but hear me out. Sometimes, even if you don't, it's good to just pretend to so you can think, whatever, these people will at least go to hell. No matter what, at least they're doing something so shitty, at least they'll go to hell. It's like copium in a sense. You know, you just gotta believe in something. It'll get back to them somehow.
They pretend to be Amazon or Microsoft, and they tell the victim they've been charged $200 for something, but if you call back, you could dispute the charge. Then after they call, they eventually get on the victim's computer and importantly
like
have
karma,
the victim type the $200 refund amount into a bogus form.
Please enter your refund amount.
Only they take over and secretly type the amount of $20,000 and then they hit enter real quick.
Check everything. Is it correct?
Oh no, this is a mistake. Oh, I screwed up.
Oh, Jesus.
It was supposed to be a 200 in there. Oh, God Almighty. I'm exhausted. I can't do this. My mind is absolutely fried.
Please check your account. Did you really receive that money in your account?
Then they take her to a totally fake, spoofed bank account page where it looks like because of Bessie's mistake, they just sent her $20,000 instead of $200.
Oh my God. Plus 20,000.
Yeah.
Please save.
I didn't realize the levels of fucked up that this is. They make these sweet old ladies think that they stole money from them. Oh
My job,
my
ma'am.
God.
If I'll not earn for my family will die due to hunger, due to starvation. Oh,
Yes,
please, ma'am,
of course. I mean, what should I do? I mean, I can.
Feeling bad for you. You are also like my grandmother.
You know, I'm an honest
You are
person.
making me cry now. You are making me cry now. I'm getting attached to you.
Now, how do I fix this?
And now you can see how he's weaponized her empathy. Now to fix her mistake, how she'd be willing to go to the bank and withdraw what she thinks is an extra $20,000 in cash, when in reality, it's $20,000 of her hard-earned savings. And she's gonna send it in the mail to a heartless scammer. Now in case you think they've gotten a lot nicer over the last year, here's another call from a few weeks ago where the scam is to pretend they're from the government and there's some missing taxes that are owed.
I just retired, as I say, last February, and then I was diagnosed with breast cancer in...
This has legit happened to my granny who lost around $25,000 from a scam like this. Does your grandma need a sugar mommy? Because I will give her $25K. That's disgusting. Weaponized empathy is just like pure evil. Genuinely pure evil. Also, if you guys didn't know, there's a guy who streams on Twitch. His name is Kit Boga. He baits scammers like these. His content is so great. Highly, highly recommend.
August. So my retirement hasn't been very good so far.
Well,
And
maybe
after
score style
today,
tip
I know it's not
$3.
your...
Yo, in black and that tip called you white. Since you're Moroccan, that ain't white blood in my opinion. If you don't mind answering, do you consider yourself white, friend? All love, less than 3.
I understand that I'm white passing and that gives me a certain type of privilege that other people don't have. But personally speaking, due to like my upbringing, my culture, where I was born, my family, I don't personally identify as white. And I know that probably sounds weird. I understand when people call me white and I'm not going to fight them on that. But I mean, like, I would more likely identify with being like Middle Eastern because that's kind of what being Moroccan is. So yeah, I guess that's my perspective on it. But I just don't fight people on that kind of thing because I get what they're saying. At the end of the day, like, there is a certain privilege that you can be afforded when you look a certain way. So, and I think that's what sometimes they're trying to say. But also, when they start, you know, like, I ain't white. I season my chicken, okay? Like, there's a difference. But if you were to associate some kind of, like, culture with being white, that's what I don't really connect to. Does that make sense? I'm playing. So you're North African. Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I never really knew what to put on those forums when they're like, are you Caucasian? Are you African? Are you this? Are you that? I'm like, I don't know. What am I? I really... Like, if you were me, what do you put? I'm so glad to see so many other people say same. I'm glad that this is, you know, not an experience that I solely have. But the thing is, and I think especially when it comes to like university applications and stuff, I think sometimes, like if you put African, they're trying to, not target, I don't know if target is the right word, but like there are certain scholarships for people of color, and I don't think I'm technically a person of color, but I am African, but like I'm so confused. So I just take the safe route with everything, and I just don't fight anybody on anything that they say, and yeah. That's the thing you have to put in forums. Yeah, because then they can let you apply for different things, if that makes sense. Anyways, hope that answers your question.
Awful, but it's
FPS, thanks for the 5 gifted.
So,
Actually, I think it would be pretty similar to Hassan. Like, do people call Hassan white? I guess he is white. Are we white? I don't know. This is just what gets confusing. Like, definitions evolve and change. White. Well, yeah. White passing. I think that's a good term because, like, you understand what that means.
I'm
But as
so
I say,
sorry
I
to
would
hear
rather
that.
just pay it. Otherwise, I'll be...
But, like, I guess here's the other thing. Are Arabs white? Because I feel like the way people treat others, they differentiate between being Arab and being white. But someone in chat said Middle Easterns and Arabs are a subsection of being white. And so I'm like, do you mean white, like, culturally? What, like... Or the color of your skin? Because then I would first consider myself Arab or Middle Eastern instead of white. I think... Can we stop this? My brain hurts. My brain hurts. My brain's been hurting for 25 freaking years. Pookie, you're not white because they usually mean Caucasian by that. But in US, a Middle Eastern are white. I don't identify as white as an Arab. That's what's confusing. But I just don't like fighting people on it. But if I'm going to describe myself to someone else, I guess physically speaking, depending on whether or not I have a tan. Y'all should see me after a summer in Morocco. But like, physically speaking, I understand that. But culturally speaking, I wouldn't say I would identify as that.
Worrying about
It's
this, and
confusing.
I'll be worse in my health, you know what I mean? Like, or even if I have to pay it in 2 halves.
So the scammer places her on hold to talk with the authorities and to see if there's just something that could be done to help her out.
Thank you so much for holding the line, ma'am. I just had a word with the Har authorities, and I informed them about your situation, and they are also concerned about your health.
So concerned, in fact, she'll only have to send these scammers $2,000.
Actual amount found out missing in the taxes is 1,489.
Now, last year's operation was effective in getting a handful of people involved in this scam not only covered in glitter, but also arrested. But the problem was, we discovered these were just the low-level mules and supervisors who would then send the bulk of the money back to the actual scammers in India. And while we did turn over all the intel we gathered to the 5 major government agencies that reached out to us to truly avenge Bessie, our goal was to take our glitter
really
all the way to the
nice.
top and either temporarily disrupt or possibly even permanently shut down a few of these terrible call
Let's
centers.
go.
It'd be like a special operation, and every special operation needs a special ops team, a target, and a plan. For the team, I turn back to my good friend Jim Browning, who you recall from last year has a YouTube channel that specializes in reversing the connection to the scammers' computers and gaining access to their CCTV footage.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, I want to know why you scam people.
And then another YouTube channel called Trilogy Media would be the boots on the ground in India
I
implementing
hate
the
seeing
pranks,
these people's
but more on them later.
faces.
For the target, together we were able to locate
And
and gather
them looking
tons of
so
incriminating
smug.
information on 4 different scam
Just
call
stealing
centers.
money
For
from
starters,
people.
there's Met Technologies located in Kolkata, India on the 5th floor of this building. They've been in operation over 12 years and they've got over 1,000 agents. Their owner is Mr. Kunal Gupta, and you can even see the rest of their leadership team here on their public website. And you might ask, well, why would a scam call center have a public website? And the answer is they all do, because they have a very small percentage of their employees do legitimate call center work. So if they get raided by the authorities, they can point to that small group and say their hands are clean, while the real money-making operation runs here behind a secure door. Then we found VRM, also located in Kolkata on the 12th floor of this building. They also have over 1,000 agents, and they've been in operation for 6 years, and they run 24 hours a day in 3 shifts to target people in time zones all.
I hate how efficiently this scam is being run. Do you guys think these guys ever turn to each other and they're like, hey, don't you think what we're doing is kind of shitty? Like, maybe these grandmas need their retirement money. Maybe they've been working for decades and they're allowed to relax a little bit. How do you become like that? Who cares if you make 6 figures if it's blood money, bro? Wait, what does blood money mean? I say blood money when it's like money that comes from bad places. Is that a correct enough term? Yeah? Okay, I didn't know if it meant it came from like blood diamonds, which I think is also bad. Dirty money. Dirty money. Yeah, who cares if you make 6 figures if it's dirty money? Dirty grandma stealing money.
All across the globe. Oh, and allow me to introduce to the world Rajesh and Vidya Goenka, the husband and wife co-owners. Next was Anj Info Solutions on the 5th floor of
Bits. Why are you guys smiling so big from scamming people?
Balmain_style tipped $3. Imani my sis is like you while im dark. On forms for like scholarships, in America you are African or of descent, African, Canadian or other, would be accurate on the form. I understand your uncertainty. You are full African. Embrace it. All love.
Thank you. But do you kind of get what I'm saying? Cause then they might, how do I You know what?
Yagoenka, the husband and wife co-owners. Next was Anch Info Solutions on the 5th floor of this building.
I just don't
They
wanna
also run
cause
3
any
shifts,
issues.
24 hours a day, and they've been up and running for 11 years with all their key info shown here. They're located just a block away from VRM. In fact, all 3 of these centers were located within just a few miles of each other here in Kolkata, India, which is a hot spot for scam call centers like this. And finally, there was one more relocated, but we're not releasing public information on them yet, and you'll see why in just a little bit. And so once we'd amassed mountains of evidence against all 4 of them thanks to Jim's handiwork, we hired 10 private investigator types to apply for jobs at each of these centers, and after a few weeks, we had them all in place. Now, in order for them not to arouse suspicion, they had to legitimately scam some people, but we told them to remember the victim's information, and then we would reach out and double any money that was lost. And at first, one of our agents in the VRM call center went against protocol and used his phone to capture some footage for us of the bathrooms and the server rack and whatever this is. But they must have seen him filming with his phone on their CCTV, because the next day, some of the security team showed up at his house. Now luckily, his roommate knew to lie and say he wasn't home, and he was able to escape through the back alley, but they stayed out in front of his house all day and later sent this message saying the director wanted to speak with him and they would pay him handsomely, and of course, he didn't need to be scared. They were just simply curious what kind of evidence he'd gathered against them already. So from that point on, we reiterated to the remaining 9 to lay really low like a sleeper cell until we were ready to activate the plan. And speaking of the plan, now that we saw what we were up against, we knew we'd have to go full James Bond Q mode with some high-tech gadgetry that could make it past security. Which is why this first prank is just a water bottle. Kind of. I mean, it can function as a normal...
In their point of view, the victims don't deserve the money. I'm sorry. Why does poor Bessie in some random small town not deserve her retirement fund? It's just a situation that, like, I don't even understand how you can copium to make it make sense. They think American equals bad. There's no way. They have a skewed perception of the West. It's literally an old lady that you have to trick into thinking that she owes you money. Their scam involves someone thinking that they are a good person. Do you get what I mean? Because if someone's a bad person and they're accidentally given $20,000, they're not going to try to give it back. It's crazy that their scam is created in a way where, like, the victim has to prove that they're nice by giving you your money back. I'm not overthinking it. It's just like, it frustrates me.
It reveals a trough. And if you put military grade putrid smelling stuff in that trough and then screw the lid back on fully, it creates a perfect seal and you can't smell anything. But then at the exact precise moment you want to release a cloud of death, you just twist the lid like this, allowing the smell to escape through these holes and fill the room. And we're using a water bottle because from looking at the CCTV footage, we know they allow them to have water bottles at their desks, so they'll be able to sneak them past security. Plus, no one's going to suspect that's the origin of the smell. Next up, if you take some hand soap and add just a few drops of the same kitchen-grade food coloring we used on the Devil's Toothpaste explosion,
I'm amazed.
and when you wash your hands, it will leave them stained for at least a day. We'll leave this in the bathroom, and as a bonus, we'll learn exactly who does and doesn't wash their hands. This next one is the most simple, but also perhaps the most effective. You take a box of Sudafed and then print out and paste on some of these labels and convert it to a box of Viagra. Then importantly, you add the name of the boss of the scam call center to the box, like it's his prescription. And then you leave it in the bathroom next to your blue soap. Next up is that custom-built box that can store cockroaches in it. So after a predetermined time delay, the microcontroller will trigger the stepper motor, which causes the wall to slide along this ball screw. That means if you disguise it in a lunchbox, then nothing happens until the timer expires. And then suddenly, you get a bunch of cockroaches crawling out of the lunchbox. Although you can put more than just cockroaches in here. And some other ideas we had were bees, because we heard India has some species that don't act.
Poor Indians and the scam victims are rich, undeserving Westerners.
My point is, even if you view it this way, you know, maybe you can view it this way if you're just like randomly taking money from people. You're having a call with these people, you're lying to them, you're trying to guilt trip them into giving you money that they think they stole from you. You're doing all these things to prove to yourself that they're a nice, normal person, and you can see their bank account, like, disgusting.
Actually sting, as well as possibly rats, because we already knew from looking at their security footage that once released, the rats can make themselves right at home. And using a lunchbox for camouflage is once again a strategic choice, because we already knew from our recon work, they always make it past security because no one actually checks what's inside. Next up, I love the idea of the chaos that could result if we set off a smoke bomb, but we were concerned that might be crossing a line if the room was too small, because like the glitter bombs, I want everything I do to be exciting, but at the end of the day, relatively harmless. So instead, we found these micro foggers that are basically like massive vape pens. We also noticed motorcycle helmets were allowed onto the floor and past security. So the plan was to put it inside a helmet like this, and then it would also detonate itself based on a timer. And finally, as the pièce de résistance, we're gonna deliver them a package. Only this isn't an ordinary package. It's GlitterBomb 4.0, which of course, as we all know, is equipped with a pound of the world's finest glitter and an uncharitable amount of fart spray.
I still smell it.
Fart spray?
And so now that our team, target, and plan were in place, after 1.5 years of prep work, it was time to avenge Bessie and execute the special operation.
Let's go, Bessie!
Step 1 was getting the Trilogy
Bessie,
media
my
guys
Bessie.
all the way over to India with all the contraptions stored securely in their luggage.
My guys stepping foot on Indian soil.
Now safely on the ground, step 2 was to go pick up those stingless bees that we could put in the lunchbox. But once they'd arrived to the beekeeper, they found out you can't just take a few bees, but you have to take the whole hive.
In the car, dude, no. They're gonna get out.
I'm not afraid.
Also, apparently, there's no such thing as stingless bees.
Oh my god. Oh,
So we punted on that idea and headed to an open air market where we could at least secure some rats. By the way, the Trilogy Media YouTube channel is composed of Ashton, who's a former magician, and Art, who played professional basketball in Russia for 8 years. They're just an
Okay.
incredible duo. And speaking of incredible things, this is a good time to point out that the real people of India were just so freaking lovely. It's true that nearly every scam call you get originates from that country, but everyone in India hates these scammers too. They are a tiny, tiny fraction of the total population,
It is
and no one
so
wants
nice
to be
for him to
defined
include
by
this
the
in his
worst in
video.
their midst. Most people we interacted with there had hearts more like Johnny, who's an honorary member of the team and a reformed scammer who's made it his life's mission to do whatever he can to take these guys down, even if that means working some back channels to get our hands on 100 cockroaches.
all right, let's go.
So with the goods procured, it was time to meet up with our
Mark
sleeper
Rober is
agents at
so
the hotel
cool.
to do some final prep on the contraptions, which went about as well as expected.
Seriously?
He has kids, right? There are just certain people. He does it right, you know? Like when I see him, when I see the kind of content he makes, I'm like, I just know you're also a good dad and you're setting a really, really good example for your kids. But it's like, for every one Mark Rober, there's 200 family vlog channels that clickbait their kids. Can you guys please stop saying fried chicken? I'm getting really hungry. Like really, really hungry. I'm getting really hungry.
No, are we gonna test it right here? Right here? You can't do it in the bathroom?
16, 17.
Yeah, no, get him in. Oh, yeah. More the merrier.
I see.
Down.
Oh no!
Okay, grab. Stop. No, in. Grab, stop.
Sorry!
No, please. Okay, pause. Accounted for, right, everyone?
You guys are saying they're harmless, but they don't look harmless, okay? They don't, and they move so fast. You know, there's a lot of cockroaches in Morocco. My grandparents have this storage area, and it was just like the cockroach area to me, and it was dark, and they sometimes left food there, and there was and you would just always see cockroaches.
I swear, I would not let you down.
We decided the first call center we'd hit would be Ansh, and we were feeling optimistic about our chances. And that's exactly when our special operation received its first major blow.
Chills,
So apparently
cockroach.
there's this WhatsApp group that 55,000 scammers all across India belong to, so the different scam call centers can communicate with each other. And because Johnny was still a member of this group from his former days, he saw this message pop up. Two of us in the town of Kolkata have seen cuss word trilogy people. We followed them, but the driver drove the car very fast to the Salt Lake side. There was 2 Indians with them, and they were shooting a movie. So apparently some scammers had recognized Art and Ashton at the
yeah, they were
market as the
saying
Trilogy
that
Media
word.
YouTube guys, because they've confronted a lot of scammers in their 5 years of making videos. Now thankfully, just out of habit, Johnny was driving in a way that would make it hard for anyone to tail them, but they still were able to pinpoint their hotel location within about a half a mile. But then it got much worse. Might be they are working with the FBI, so I request all of our brothers to have an eye in Salt Lake, so whenever you see them, you shoot them. Which was super devastating, because it seemed pretty clear to me that we'd have to scrap the whole operation, because while the mission was important, it definitely wasn't worth anyone getting hurt. But
Did they mean shoot with a camera or a gun? Are you sure, gun?
But when I brought this up to the guys, they'd already discussed it amongst themselves and decided this was a cause they were passionate about, that they were willing to accept some risks. So we decided moving forward, Art and Ashton wouldn't step a foot outside their hotel room, and that's when the second major blow came. Because apparently the group text warning spooked the call scam center so much, they just changed up everyone's assignments, and they were planning on moving all 3 of our sleeper agents to a new floor where there was no CCTV coverage. But this is where we had a stroke of luck, because the last minute, Johnny thought to have another one of his reformed scammer friends apply for a job. And because he had so much experience on his resume, they hired him on the spot and gave him a more highly trusted role, which meant he could be the one to smuggle in all our gadgets. And so with that, he loaded up.
This is why I believe in second chances, okay? They had to use a guy who used to do this, but he's like reformed. This is why, okay? People can grow and do good.
Headed in for battle, and
it's
an hour
important
later,
to believe
we
that.
had a man on the inside. And by the way, now that we're inside, I'll give you a very quick crash course on what we've learned about how these scam centers operate after watching them for so long. First of all, 90% of the victims are 65 years old or above.
I don't understand that. I don't understand all of this.
They really only make calls during the US working day hours and not on the weekends, because that maximizes their chance the person who picks up will be retired. This is why you never get scam calls on Sunday. They don't have anyone even working the phones. In fact, many of them have an auto dial prompt that says press 1 if you're over 65 years old, and if you press anything else, it just hangs up. The most common scam is the Amazon refund scam, but they also...
If you have a grandma in America, you should tell them. If you ever get a call like that, do not say that you're above 65. Just send the call.
pretend to be Microsoft, McAfee, Norton Antivirus, the IRS, and your bank, and on and on. It's always changing, but it's also always something you've heard of to try and build trust right out of the gate. If you want to know how much they make, well, that information, unfortunately, is securely held on the boss's computer, so we can't get to it. Although, I suppose if you had access to the internal cameras, you could just watch the boss type his password, and then you'd be able to access their master tracking spreadsheets, which is what we did, and how we know these large call centers make $60,000 per day. That's $18 million a year. An opener will take the initial calls, and they make an average of...
I wish they told us a password. What was it? I'm a big loser, 1, 2, 3.
$7,000 a month. Then if they keep the victim on the phone long enough, they hand it over to a closer.
This makes me password 1, 2, 3. On my way to India right now. Stop. Okay, but this really pisses me off because they are making bank and they are still somehow justifying in their mind that it's okay to scam old ladies.
And they make on average $15,000 a month. They never say the word scam or victim, instead referring to them as sales and customers. That way they just seem more like a normal office. Although what I think does that job more...
Bessie was not a customer of yours. That sweet old lady that withdrew $20,000 of cash and sent it to you because she thought that she stole money from you. That's not a customer, my guy. What is she getting out of this? Minus 20K, Keck W.
Amazingly, are all the walls plastered with inspirational corporate words like
Teamwork,
synergy,
strategy,
or management,
idea,
or process.
innovate.
So that's your crash course on how they operate. And the FTC has put out a list of 4 signs to help spot a scam and 4 things you can do to protect against them. And I'll link to it in the video description. And so now, without further ado, we kicked things off with the stink bomb water bottle. And while that was marinating, he went to the bathroom and dropped off the hand soap and the special medication with the boss's name written on the front. And it didn't take long for us to get our first hit on the smell. What was great though is they all kind of covered their noses subtly in silence so the people next to them wouldn't feel accused. Well, for the most part. Then a few minutes later, we had our first bathroom customer who clearly doesn't wash her hands after using the restroom. But then we had a second chance with an apparently more hygienic scammer, and this time we struck pay dirt as he comes out trying to figure out what the heck just happened. And 5 minutes later, you could see him still trying to work it out. And not long after that, we got our first mention of the special package in the bathroom. The audio cut out here, but our agent told us they were laughing and wondering how the boss could possibly leave that lying around. Although it certainly doesn't feel too far off brand, given he uses this as his profile pic on Facebook.
Stop.
And at this point, our agent placed and then triggered the time delay countdown on the cockroach, rat, and smoke bomb traps, so we can now safely make
We
his
can't. We can't.
Oh. You okay? You safe? They were just following me.
And since they, of course, have no idea what's about to happen, they're still just casually talking about the bathroom.
Okay, wait. Hear me out, guys. Listen, I'm getting hungry. We know what I've been wanting. Anyways, let's watch the video.
And then a few moments later, the first boxes must have triggered because this guy notices a cockroach and nopes his way out of there. And then he's quickly followed by the second dude. And I love it, because now you just randomly see cockroaches start coming in frame. And so now that they know what they're up against, they call in the reinforcements with a mop. But it looks like he missed one. Or 2. Or 3.
Why would you tell me this? My grandpa always said, it's okay if you just eat a little. Eventually he got diabetes. What the hell? That doesn't even mean that what he said was bad. Stop laughing, guys. I feel like my last 3 streams have just been me going, stop laughing, guys. Stop laughing, guys. Grandpa is pretty based. Bruh.
Actually, 4. Scratch that.
All the grandpas
5.
have diabetes.
And then
That's not
perfectly on
good.
cue, right as the mop guy finishes his cleanup, the smoke begins. And this causes quite a commotion and draws quite a crowd, and it takes them a while, but they're eventually able to pinpoint the source of the smoke and gingerly take it off the premises. Followed soon thereafter by our rat friends. And this is possibly my favorite clip of the whole night, where you see a cockroach lead the way and wander all around as they argue and try and make sense of what in the world is possibly happening. And by this point, you can tell the boss is pretty sure they're under attack, but just to remove any sense of doubt, we sent them one final package. And they almost opened it right there, but I guess with everything else that had already happened so far that night, they took it downstairs. And then this happened.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Yeah, in fact, there's 4 of them, and they're uploading this footage to the cloud.
Oh my.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Activation complete. Recovery sequence initiated.
Why are you sniffing the fart so close? Ew! He probably does that after scratching his balls too. You just know.
So after our incredibly successful special operation, we waited to see what the response would be. And we didn't have to wait long. Yesterday, those cuss words sent Anch Solutions a package bomb. And it exploded, and there was a bad smell and sprinkler water, or whatever it was.
Or whatever
These
it
guys
was.
are playing good with us. I am reminding you guys.
All men do. I'm curious, why? Is it like a way of checking that you're all good? Why do you sniff after if you know that, yeah. I like that he spelled balls like this. My balls. I wish I had balls, because like talking about them is like you talk about them so fondly. They're put in such a positive light societally. But when it comes to boobs, it's like, oh my God, so sexual. Wow. And you need to use them to nurture your children. They're for men and they're for children. And if women enjoy their boobs, then it's like, you whore. But you guys can scratch and sniff your balls all day and talk about how it's cool. I got balls, bro. Man, that person has balls because you're so cool and courageous. Like, what? What about boobies? I'm preaching right now. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I'm only spitting facts currently. Currently. I mean, I do feel like we're moving towards appreciating breasticles a little bit more. And yes, I am going to start referring to them as breasticles. Because why not? And I just think we should. Chesticles. I mean, I guess either work. Chesticles. I am just saying equality for boobs and balls.
Must be in between us. We don't even know. And now we had them because they were paranoid and they didn't know which of their employees might have been compromised. Check the
You can
lunch
hum me
boxes,
all you want, but
pocket
you
bags,
can't say I'm
shoes,
wrong.
Ladies' purse as well. Even check the water, whether there's some color mixed in it. I assume he's referring to the soap dye here. But be cautious, guys, seriously. They came to bad word all of us, and they are still trying to bust us. After that, there were a few more death threats, so we didn't think it was safe enough to launch our attacks on the other 3 centers to try and get them shut down. But the beautiful thing is,
You have an
we didn't
interesting
have to.
mind.
Big
Thank
centers
you.
in Kolkata
The internet made it.
and Delhi are closed
Thank you guys
from
so much
today,
for the subs and
as well as
resubs, by the way.
Monday,
Welcome,
as per
welcome
the
back.
information I got from all
Much
my friends.
love.
We had created enough confusion and mass panic that not only did the other 3 centers get shut down, but we got all the large scam centers all across India shut down for a few days too. And if you add it up, that means those tiny cockroaches stopped $2 million from going from the victims to the scumbags. And I would say that's the perfect ending, but it actually gets even a little better. Once Ashton and Art were safely
Go
back home on
on.
American soil, they decided to troll that text group with
I'm
those
glad nothing bad
55,000
happened to them.
scammers by uploading this gem to the chat.
Surprise, surprise, scammers! Martin Ashton over here. No matter how many numbers you remove from this group, we're still watching. Not only that, we've also downloaded every single person's contact information, all 57,000 of them inside this group. We have every single one of his contact information. We're submitting it to the FBI in the United States and the CBI
America.
in India. So you guys better run and you better watch out.
And so if you want to see how
That
quickly
was
the
Giga
scammers
Chat as
started
hell.
removing themselves from the chat group, as well as a lot more details of all their work on the ground over in India, you should go check out their video. And not surprisingly, on
Mark is just so great. What's up with Mark is a good name, especially to have on YouTube. There are good Marks on YouTube. I love that he has been like promoting these people's channels so much. Pokey turning 30. I'm not, but it wouldn't be a bad thing if I was. I'm turning 26. Woohoo! I'm actually really excited. Sorry, this is completely unrelated. Yeah, I'm talking about Markiplier and Mark Rober. Unrelated, but, you know, even being like 21, 22, kind of just growing up in general, growing up generally in my 20s, I've always seen women not celebrate growing older, but instead be like very fearful of it. And I kind of vowed to do the opposite. Like, I'm so excited. No, bitch. But I've got a lot of other things, if you know what I'm talking about. Liberties. Liberties is what I'm talking about. Okay, sorry. I was going to say. Yeah, I am only 25. I started streaming at 17. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, so I was saying. What do you mean, huh? I'm saying, like, liberties, cats, money, freedoms. I was gonna make a joke about, like, I don't have kids, but I got money. But then I was like, that's enough money jokes, you know? So instead I said liberties. Liberties. Okay, my whole point, I vowed to be excited about all my years in my 20s. If I'm turning 22, if I'm turning 25, if I'm turning 26, I want to be excited about all of them and be like, every year I have learned or grown or enriched my life in some way. Over the last year, especially, I've enriched my life with like a lot of really, really great personal friendships. And like, why shouldn't I be happy about that? I should very much be happy about that. And I am. And yeah, it's just exciting. Buggies. All right,
and the other scam call centers eventually open back up, albeit this time with much tighter
You don't
security.
got balls, though. I don't got balls, but I have chesticles, and they smell a lot better than your balls. So how about that, Mr. Chatter? Huh? That's right. No, they... Oh, you guys are... Wow, I've never seen my chat just explode. No, they don't. Literally, how can your balls, a place that is so sweaty and hairy and muffled up all day, smell better than my chesticles? You would be surprised. I don't understand what you guys mean by they smell good. Yeah, I've never seen my chat so defiant. Do you have something to add to the conversation, Myth? Like, because you can't lie. You probably sniffed down there too. Is it actually good, or are they copium? You cannot tell me. There's no way. No. I refuse to believe it. You know what I was gonna say? I was gonna roast the shit out of you guys and be like, that's just because you ain't never smelt chesticles, so you don't know. Maybe someday you'll be so lucky. But like, chests are relatively clean. How can you say balls would smell better than a chest? Like, no. Sad. But true. Dr. Lupo, this is not the place to be right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, men's cheered 1,000 bits. Hey, how
a man of culture. A man of culture. A man of culture. Okay, how about this, guys? You go out there, form a beautiful relationship with someone, and smell their chesticles. Come back to me. We can have this discussion again in a year or two, okay? We can come back more informed, more educated, more compassionate. Ow, my finger. And have a civil discussion. We can reopen this discussion later on. 2 years optimistic. Stop. I believe in you guys. You know, there was this one couple that met in my chat and they got married. And they told me at TwitchCon, isn't that so cute? And then they had a baby and they named it Pokey. The baby part is completely made up. But I told them though. I was like, that's so cute. Name your kid Pokey. Just kidding. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Don't do it. But listen, I think everybody, there's hope for everyone. There's someone out there for you. It just ain't me. I'm sorry. I'm very much in a roasting mood today. I don't know why. I think it's because you guys kept laughing at me. You know, you guys deserve it. You do. And you pushed me to order fried chicken. Fuck, bro. Anyways, I think it's gonna be here soon, and we're gonna enjoy some more
but they
videos
still didn't,
and
and
fried
still
chicken.
don't realize probably till this moment that we have access to their live camera feeds. So Jim improvised a bit, calling them out by their real names without giving away the fact he was just looking at them on the camera.
Yeah, hi sir. My name is Carolina Fernandez. I am calling you from the Microsoft.
Oh, hi Priya.
The Microsoft. Why was that a gasp from like a drama show?
Oh, hi Priya. Hi.
Who are you?
I'm a ghost.
Okay, Amber Heard. You're acting chum.
Yeah, I don't know
you
what.
know my father's name?
I don't know, but is your father proud of you? What you do? Does he think you work for Microsoft?
Yes.
Telenovela gasp,
Microsoft.
yes.
Did you tell him that? Will I tell you one more name?
Yes.
Soini.
Okay, but she seems
least
hype
talk to me.
about it.
Hello?
Okay, now she doesn't
He
seem
also
hype.
managed to
I'm
change
so
the way their voices
confused.
sound when they would do outbound calls to their potential victims.
Who are you? May I know who I speak with? Who are you?
You're speaking very strangely. What's up?
So to see a lot more of that quality entertainment, you should go check out his video. So after all that, we're sort of in a good news, bad news situation here. The good news is that because of some developments we've been involved in, the fourth center here is going to be raided by the authorities in India and shut down very, very soon. The bad news is that these other three are still very operational. And for reasons I can't say here, we don't have the same option to get them shut down like we do on the fourth one. Now you might ask, why not just privately reach out to the proper authorities in Kolkata where these three call centers are located? And the answer is, that's been tried before and it didn't work. While there are many good apples, there are a few bad apples that prevent anything from happening to
Wipe those smiles off of your faces.
these guys. So where does that leave us?
So
Well, as they
schmug.
say, sunshine is a great disinfectant, and here's where you come in. We've invested a lot of resources and time in trying to make this video as entertaining as possible in the hopes that you'll consider sharing it for two reasons. Number one, the more people are aware of how these scams work, the less effective they become and they lose their power. So please share it, especially with your older loved ones. And number two, the more people that see this video and learn about these three specific call centers, the more the press will pick it up, especially in India. Heck, tweet our videos to the Kolkata police.
Yes.
This helps out the good apples because
The
the
more
bad
attention
ones
there is on
can't
it, the
just
better.
sweep all the evidence under the rug or quietly tip off the scam center bosses. The press and public can hold them accountable. We've seen this tactic work successfully in the past, and we have mountains of evidence against all these scam
This is a
centers.
really
if you
good
are with the
video.
press or a law enforcement agency, send us an
Adam,
email
thanks
to
for 33
callcenterevidencepack@gmail.com and we'll share everything we have with you. If you combine them, these three centers have been in operation an astounding 29 years, and they're still scamming people of their life savings to this day, even right now as we release this video. So let's see what we can do. And depending on exactly what happens, I'll either post a follow-up video here on my YouTube channel or on my other social channels, so subscribe and all that stuff if you want to stay in the loop. Glitter bombs and cockroaches are just harmless entertainment, but our best